We're pre-recorded. So this is Michael, and Michael Keller is the mastermind behind drivingtheuniverse.com. What's up? Just really quick intro here. He's got an amazing, by the way, he's only 20 years old. And for that age, or just for anyone, he's got an amazing list of services he offers: Google Ads and pay-per-click, social media management, copywriting, blog writing, email marketing, um, Facebook ads. The list goes on and on. And yeah, and he does his own email newsletter and everything, his own website. And well, I'll link to that in the description below. But for now, I guess, yeah, let's just start off. You can fill in the blanks if I missed anything. And how did you get started and learn all these amazing things at such a young age?
Yeah, for sure, man. I think you covered everything there. So yeah, it was mainly the digital marketing and social media services that I do. I've also done Amazon ads and a bit of copywriting. Not so much SEO though, but the other digital marketing stuff. And then I do have that blog, which is kind of just for fun, where I'm just putting the posts up there and sending it out to friends and whoever I meet and whatnot. And how I got started in all of this is kind of a mess, actually. It can, like, all the events leading up to it are, like, I could go really far back, but the general way that I got into things is I just turned 18 and I had spent my entire life in Omaha, Nebraska. And when I was 17, I was like, Mom, Dad, I'm moving out of Omaha when I turn 18. I'm tired of these fucking winters. I'm going to Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm figure things out there.
Yeah.
So I went to Phoenix, Arizona, and I had to take a year off of university to get the residency, to get the scholarship and whatnot. And so I was just kind of sitting around figuring out what to do with my life, etc. And I was already reading self-help books, like how to pick up girls, how to be more confident, how to do this, how to do that. And then somehow through this, while trying to figure out what to do with my life at the same time, like, oh, I could do this degree, I could live in this city, I could do that, I end up coming across the book, The 4-Hour Work Week. And of course, that title just ropes you right in. All right, 4 hours in a work week and go anywhere in the world. What is this guy talking about? So I read the book, and I was just so shocked because I was like, no, this isn't real, So I read the whole book in like a day or two. I actually didn't even buy it. Like, I had no money at all. So I literally read it for free at Barnes & Noble. And then I went back the next day, and I read it all over again. And then I bought it, and I read it like 2 more times that week. So I read it 4 times in like a week or two. I was just so shocked, man. And
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is going on? These people are living this crazy life. I want to do that. I want to, like, do these crazy things and whatnot also. And I had never, ever thought in my entire life of leaving the USA. Born and raised in Omaha, so, the mentality is a lot smaller of where I came from. I couldn't even properly put Germany or Poland or any of the big European countries on a map because I had no clue where anything is. I'm just this little Nebraska guy in Phoenix. And Phoenix also kind of inspired me to travel because the difference between Omaha and Phoenix is absolutely huge. The lifestyle, the size of everything, the freaking desert with cactus and heat and all of this different things. It was super exotic for me. And I was kind of primed to buy into the 4-hour work week because I was working at a pizza restaurant in the Phoenix area. And in this pizza restaurant, I hated it, man. It was horrible. In Omaha, I had a job at a Greek restaurant, and they treated me so nice there. I got tips, I got bonuses, I got whatever. So it was like an awesome job. I was making a fair amount of money for a 16/17-year-old at this job because I was very respected for being hardworking. But then I went to Arizona, and I'm working at a pizza restaurant, being treated like shit. And what I realized in this job was that people that got raises and people that were valued were the people that appeared busy, but not the people doing good work. So by the end of my time at this job, I was literally just running around, like, very like, go, 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 go,
Yeah.
go. Okay, bathroom time. And like, I would literally spend 15 minutes in the bathroom every couple hours just to like sit around on my phone and then I would just like rush around and like
Just
walk
to
really
take a
fast.
break. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what they valued, but I hated it. And then I ended up getting a job at a bank after that. And at the bank, I was making more money than the pizza restaurant, but I could just sit around and do nothing. So this changed my mentality of things because I stopped thinking of, oh, I have to work hard because I was working maybe 20% as hard in the bank. You know, you're just sitting around counting money and handing it out to people. It's very easy. It's very, very easy actually. It doesn't use a ton of energy, but I was getting paid a few dollars more per hour. So when I read the 4 Hour Work Week, a part of it clicked because I went, okay, there's this job, work very hard, make some money, or work less hard and make more money. So I kind of believed it, but I didn't know if I wanted to do the travel thing. So what I did is there was a 3-day weekend at the bank. Saturday, I think it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday, something like this, because there was a holiday, so the bank would be closed. And I drove from Phoenix to San Diego with a couple other friends, and I stayed in this thing called a hostel. I had never been in a hostel before in my entire life, but it was the best weekend of my entire life up to that point. I met Germans, Norwegians, Brazilians. We were on the beach, just surfing on the beach, and I was 18, but still they were just like, here, have some weed, here, have some beer. Like the hostel vibe was just so crazy. So it was a ton of fun, and that moment was like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm fucking doing this. I don't care what it takes. I'm gonna do it. Screw university. Screw everything. I'm going to do this.
When you say this, sorry, just to clarify, when you say this, you mean like kind of how I started in the intro, like doing all these online services and doing your own business and getting out of the rat race, and that's kind of what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. So it was no more university, no more jobs. I was going to be an online entrepreneur that was going to create a lifestyle of freedom and whatnot.
That's awesome.
Because of that weekend, it was the happiest time of my life up to that point, and it was just endless fantasy that weekend. It was just so much fun.
Yeah, I think that's pretty inspiring, especially like I said, you were 18 when you made at that point when you made that decision. Wow. All right. Did you okay, so you had this the 4 Hour Work Week. For anyone who hasn't, probably most people have heard of it, especially who are like watching my channel, but for those of you who haven't, it's written by Tim Ferriss. He's the OG of kind of working remote and starting your own business and working, like you said, maybe working smart versus working hard. Not that you don't work hard as well, but just it's like, you know, what you do doesn't necessarily equate to the dollars per hour kind of thing. And what else? So that's kind of how you got inspired and started, but what other resources or how else, like, or specific ways did you learn? Did you just kind of learn as you go, or any other resources you want to share? Or
yeah, after this, I was still in a little bit of shock, and so I made an effort to go meet entrepreneurs and try like break out of my social circle and whatnot, because obviously I think a lot of people don't get to the lifestyle they want to simply because they aren't around the people which are doing these things. And when you meet people that are making tens of thousands of dollars per month online, when you're hanging around people making 1 to 2K per month and they're struggling, you think, my God, these people must be evil, or they must be greedy, or they must be working too hard, or they must be geniuses. But then you meet them and you figure out that they still can't spell properly in English, and they're just nice people that are kind of clueless. So I met some of these people, and there was even someone in the 4 Hour Work Week called Brandon Pierce. And so I typed into YouTube Brandon Pierce, and I found his YouTube channel, and I reached out to him, and I was like, hey man, is this actually real what you're doing? And he actually made a YouTube video for me. Something like, it's called 3 Things to Consider Before Starting a Lifestyle Business, because I sent him a question when I was 18 years old, and there was all kinds of other little things happening in my life at the time. Like, my mom and dad both got degrees, but my dad was struggling to get a job. My mom was working like ridiculous hours trying to get money, and so my mentality of everything just got broken because I saw, here are my parents. They did everything right by societal standards, yet here they are struggling. And then here are these people doing things the smart way that can be anywhere they want and just have massive abundance.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to first of all, I'm gonna have to look up that YouTube video. You're gonna send me a link later, and I can put that in the description below so people
Yeah,
can
for
check that
sure.
out. And I want to check that out now too.
Yeah,
It's really interesting that you mentioned that, like working smarter versus working hard, and what like our societal norms teach us is the right thing to do, which I think now, as time goes on, it's changing more and more. And there was a trend. I don't know. I just read about this the other day. How it's becoming more popular now, and I think this trend will definitely continue over the next 5, 10, 15 years, whatever. That less people think of university as like a must have, like you have to do this to be successful, get a bachelor's, and then there's so many other alternatives out there to make doing like what you're doing.
yeah.
So now, do you plan? Speaking of that, do you plan on going back to college, or is that necessary? Or do you want to do that?
No, never. There for this type of work, it's just not
Yeah,
intelligent for me to do this because I can spend the time trying to get a marketing degree, or you can just meet a successful entrepreneur and say, "Hey, how's your marketing campaigns working?" He tells you it, and then you apply the information, and then bam, you got a university degree in the course of like a month of learning.
right, right, totally. And I think if I was an employer and I had someone like, okay, went to got the traditional 4-year college degree, maybe they did 1 or 2 internships, but that's about like the only real experience they've had. And then someone like you who's like done it all themselves, doesn't have a degree, but got a hell of a lot more, life experience and business experience on their own. I would much rather hire you. So that's me personally.
Yeah, thank you. That's the way the world works, Like I have this phone right here, and it's like I didn't check to see if the CEO of this company has a college degree or not. You don't
Right.
when you buy a shirt, you don't go, "Oh, did this person have a college degree?" Or before I rent this apartment, I just have to make sure that you have a degree. You don't check that. College degrees are supposed to be indicative of the person's skill, but if you can demonstrate that you can give value, then nobody cares about your degree or where you learned whatever from. They just say, "Okay, give me this stuff."
Totally. Okay, I think you've already shared a lot of good insight and wisdom just from your own experience, but I don't know, is there another, like, if you had to give someone one, big piece of advice or the number one tip for doing what you've done and kind of starting on their own, just getting the ball rolling without having the experience or background, what would you tell them?
I say, okay, wait. Do you mean in general in life, like when it like general life advice, or do you mean in doing this type of work?
Let's say in working remote, or I mean, I don't know, whatever. If you have something really interesting to say, and just like whatever their goal is, whether it's getting a girlfriend, getting in shape, whatever it is. But
Okay,
yeah, we'll leave it open.
I think the biggest, best advice anyone could ever give is to begin with the end in mind. So
Mm,
whatever you do in life, you got to know what you want to get out of it because people in today's society, we're mentally speaking, we like to think we're above sheep and other animals, but when you look at the mentality of a lot of people, you actually see we all kind of just operate in this unconscious mentality of following everyone else. So if
right.
everybody's going to university, a lot of people get funneled into that, and I almost got sucked into it as well. But nobody really knows why they're going. They know generally, oh, maybe I'll get a job, maybe I'll get some money, but they haven't defined very clearly exactly what they want out of life. And when it comes to anything, whether it comes to girls or health or money, especially in this case, for whatever you want to do in life, begin with the end goal in mind. So start with the lifestyle, the very core of who you are. Do you want to live adventurously, or do you want to live more traditional? That's also totally okay as well. There are people that really like having those roots and being very popular in their own city, or just having their husband or their wife and live a very quiet, small lifestyle. Whatever it is, figure out exactly what lifestyle you want to live, and then trace your way back and figure out how to get there.
Mm,
And you have to understand your core values to figure this out. So to give you an example of this, as a little kid, I really wanted to go to the moon or Mars, and I really liked the idea of being an astronaut. So maybe one day I will buy a ticket and I will do that. Maybe not, but the meaning behind this is the adventure, the excitement of going somewhere new and being on your own in an exotic place. So the meaning behind being an astronaut is more important than being an astronaut itself. So the lifestyle of being a world traveling digital entrepreneur is going to fulfill that need inside of me. So then I know, okay, I want to live this lifestyle. Then I figure out, okay, I can be a web developer. I can sell things online. I can do digital marketing. And you start testing with them. You figure out what's best for you. Then I decided, okay, I want to do digital marketing for clients. Okay, what's the best way to educate myself and then get to this result? And the path makes itself more and more clear when you know exactly where you want to go. And then the other thing I would say is just test things. Like, if you don't know what you want out of life, that's totally cool. Like, I have got some general goals I want to move towards in the future, but I'm still working on figuring out my more specific big purpose and stuff like that. But I see, man, so many people, they get pushed into university without knowing what they want. Like, you must begin now. You have to start at 18, or, yes, you can take a year off, but then you got to start at 19 or 20 or whatever. And it's just stupid because people don't know where they want to go and they're not even testing it. So if you want to be a doctor, why don't you go sign up to be a volunteer at a doctor? You ask to job shadow a doctor. If you want to be a police officer, job shadow a police officer. And like for me, I did the trial run to San Diego. I was like, okay, I don't know if I want to travel the world, but let's go to San Diego for a weekend and see what happens. And then bam, fell in love with it. Now I know what I want. So be willing to question what you want to do out of life, because you can't understand your end goal unless you do that.
Oh yeah, there's a lot to take in right now. I'm just like digesting it in my mind. But dude, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'll add really quick, and then we probably have to wrap this up. I mean, I have many more questions I could ask you, but I've heard something like that where like you ask someone like what they want, like, oh yeah, you want to win the lottery? Do you want like $100 million? Like who wouldn't say yes? Like, of course, like everyone would want like, or $1 billion, yeah. But it's like, okay, well, what do you actually want to do with that? Like, why do you want the money? And then you have to think of, so like maybe, you don't need to necessarily be rich or need X amount of money. It's just like, you want to, live independently. You don't want to have a boss or whatever your goals are. You want to have a horse stable or something. Like, okay. That was my fiance. She said yes. She likes horses. But anyway, so it's really like not necessarily about the money or about like, it's just what do you, I feel like I'm not being as articulate as you are, but
no, you got it completely. I agree with you there, man.
Yeah.
Even like recently while traveling, I have gone into dips where I'm like, oh, I need to make more money and I need to like, I should try make 20, 30K per month, whatever. And like, I go in, I've had these dips into that mentality, but then I'm like, wait a minute, I got to calculate exactly what I want from this 20 or 30,000. And then you do it and you're like, okay, maybe 10,000 is good. Or maybe, like, you know what I mean? Or 5,000 even. Like, you don't need millions of dollars to live a good life. It's you have to calculate it out. It's like reverse budgeting. So rather than saying I make 3K per month, here's how we're going to budget this out. Okay, I can put 800 per month on accommodation. Why don't you just say, okay, I want to spend 1,500 per month on nice accommodation. I want to do this, and that. Put it all together, and then find a way to make that money. And that's going to be a lot more inspiring than saying, just accepting whatever comes your way, and then trying to live beneath how you really want to live.
Yeah, man, for sure. Actually, that could be a whole nother topic. And I did a video which I will link below to anyone watching this on finding what's the most finding the priority to you and spending, budgeting more for like if you really like fine dining, fine, spend more on that, but then cut down everything else. You really it's important to have a hotel. You can budget for a hotel, but then you got to cut on everything else and just focusing on what's the most important. Anyway, we got to wrap this up. I would love to keep talking all day about this. Now, if people want to, we'll just end this with, if people want to connect with you, how do they do that? I know you got, like I said, an email list. You have a new Facebook group. I'll link to those below. Anything else, or?
Yeah, for sure. Anyone that wants to connect, they can send me an email at michael@drivingtheuniverse.com, or they can join that Facebook group, or they can check out my blog and join the email list as well. I'm not trying to sell anything or whatever. It's literally just telling stories and whatever things I've learned. That's just like sharing that with people, and I'm not even trying to sell anything. So if you want to join that, I just send out free articles, not on a schedule or anything, just whenever I feel like it. Sometimes it's 3, 4 in a week. Other times I disappear for 2 months.
Right. Yeah, no, I know how that goes. Cool. All right, I like it, and I'll link to all that below for everyone who likes this and thinks that it's an awesome thing what Michael's doing. I think it is. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. We got a lot more cool digital nomad content where this is coming from. And I would love to, absolutely, I'll have to chat with Michael later, perhaps do a part 2 to this, because there's so much more to talk about. And but for now, we'll have to wrap it up. Thank you so much, Michael, for joining, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video. All right?
And have a good one.
All right, adios.